Welcome to Inside Gaming. I'm Evan, that's Caden, it's the weekend, and it's time to do the roundup. Let's do it. Hot off the heels of the Halo Infinite delay, it seems we won't be seeing another one of Microsoft's big IPs for a very long time. Yep, it looks like Fable is a long ways off based on a recent tweet from senior game designer Harv Gangler. The tweet says, "Hi, we're currently looking for a great lead scriptwriter to work with us on Fable at Playground Games."
A lead scriptwriter seems pretty important to have when you're, a story-driven single-player game, if you ask us, which means that the newest Fable game may not be as far along in development as we previously thought. They are also hiring for a lead audio engineer, a lead AI engineer, a lead game designer, and an animation director. So yeah, definitely feels like the Playground Games team is still knee-deep in rebuilding the world of Albion from scratch.
Of course, there have been rumors swirling around since about 2017 that Fable has been being developed by Playground Games. In 2018, the rumors were all but confirmed by a Eurogamer article claiming to have insider information about plans to add upwards to 200 people to the Playground Games staff. A large game and a coveted IP isn't going to be left to chance by the invested parties, and looking at the development time of other first-party exclusive games, it's pretty easy to assume Fable would take, at the very least, 2 to 3 years to develop once things picked up, but honestly, it's probably going to take even longer for a flagship title like Fable.
Yeah, that leaves it completely up in the air when we're going to actually get this game. Could be next year, but more likely we're looking at something around the 2022 release at the earliest. And again, this comes right after the Halo Twitter announced the delay of Halo Infinite in an image post with the tagline, quote, "Halo Infinite Development Update." For a refresher on that, 343 Studios head Chris Lee said that, quote, "We have made the difficult decision to shift a release to 2021 to ensure the team has adequate time to deliver a Halo game experience that meets our vision. The decision to shift our release is the result of multiple factors that have contributed to the development changes, including the ongoing COVID-related impacts affecting us all this year."
Immediately after this, Xbox did some damage control in a blog post by saying there will still be thousands of games to play on the Xbox Series X because of backwards compatibility, which, while cool, is also not a new Fable or Halo game.
Xbox Wire editor-in-chief Will Tuttle said there will be, quote, "new games developed for the Xbox Series X and launching with Xbox Game Pass, including exclusives like The Medium, Scorn, Tetris Effect Connected, and more." Unfortunately, those 3 are the only new exclusives because the "and more" includes lists of games like Gears 5, Forza 4, etc. And most of those older games will actually be the Xbox One versions of the games, as the Xbox Series X patches and updates for them won't be hitting until after the console's launch.
Tuttle capped it off by confirming the release month of the Series X, saying, "Whether you've played for years or have just recently picked up a controller, we can't wait for you to see and feel the first big step into gaming's next generation with Xbox Series X this November." So with no Halo and Fable being released, how can Microsoft possibly think the Series X is going to do well this fall? I think it'll be okay.
Well, according to Xbox boss Phil Spencer, it's Game Pass. Good old Spencer said that, quote, "I think what you'll see from us around the launch of the console, frankly, isn't going to change too much because you are going to hear a lot about the console and a lot about Game Pass and how we think those two things together are a real great value proposition for gamers going into the next generation. And Game Pass is cool, but Microsoft may end up struggling with not having any major first-party titles coming until 2021. Sony may only have 2 games, but one of theirs is Miles Morales, so that may be enough to tip the scales further in Sony's favor. But this is Microsoft, and they've been talking about the family of consoles and the Xbox ecosystem for a while, which means Game Pass members can play all these games on their PC at launch without a Series X anyway, or at least most of them.
On the other hand, for those in a hurry to take that old console off the shelf to replace it with that shiny new one, a Game Pass subscription might be more than enough to hold them over until exclusives like Halo Infinite and Fable finally do come out.
All right, moving on to the next story. In one of the coolest moves in Rainbow Six Siege history, legendary video game character Sammie Fisher will be joining as one of the new operatives for the Operation Shadow update. Ubisoft published a very short teaser on their YouTube channel, starting with Sam boldly stating that "you should know better than to write me off. Consider this a teaching moment," and showing off his new look. The full reveal for Operation Shadow happens tomorrow, August 16th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's been a while since we've seen good old Sam. The last few times Ubisoft referenced him were in Far Cry New Dawn, in various in-game war journals, and in Ghost Recon Breakpoint's Deep State DLC. The last full Splinter Cell game was Blacklist, released way back in 2013. So maybe with all this hyping up of Sam recently, a new Splinter Cell game is actually going to come out soon. This is definitely a very real possibility on the fact that the Italian voice actor for Sam Fisher, Luca Ward, stated as much in an interview, saying that we could see the conclusive episode to his story very soon. That new rumored Splinter Cell game was supposedly going to be released in 2020, but like many other games, it has probably slipped far into 2021 or beyond.
Speaking of 2021, the Game Developers Conference, commonly referred to as GDC, is planning to make a comeback with a hybrid event next year. Of course, GDC 2020 was one of the first gaming events to suffer a cancellation this year due to the then impending pandemic, so it makes sense GDC would be on the forefront of figuring out just how to make their conference work in a post-outbreak world. In the before times, thousands of game developers would gather annually at the Moscone Center in San Francisco to discuss all manner of things game making. GDC is a meeting of the minds, where creators can share their experiences, learn new skills, and teach the next generation of developers what's working and what's not. Of course, a large gathering could still potentially be dangerous or not possible next year, so the organizers have moved GDC 2021 from its traditional spot in March to a few months later in July. The event will be returning to the Moscone Center, but according to a blog post on gdconf.com, there will also be a robust virtual offering as well. It's kind of heartening to hear, you know? It makes me feel like we're gonna figure this all out. Let's keep that positivity train rolling.
Speaking of trains rolling, time to talk about Red Dead Online. Is Red Dead Online being broken really a story? Well, yes, it is, especially if the new update breaks it so bad that horses start flying and alligators begin raining from the sky. Take off another one for Apocalypse Bingo, everyone! Yeehaw! Anyway, earlier this week, a big new 1.21 title update for Red Dead Online dropped, and alongside it came some of the funniest Rockstar glitches of all time. All right, so as you can see, things were really messed up in the Wild West. So of course, Rockstar rolled back the update. They commented on this by saying, quote, "An update to Red Dead Online intended to provide security improvements and address connecting errors unintentionally introduced a range of issues, including connection problems, low animal spawn counts, difficulty pitching camps, entering moonshine shacks, as well as others on PS4 and Xbox One. We've reverted back to those previous versions on those platforms initially launched on July 28th. This should address these recent issues and restore stability. Meanwhile, we will continue to work to eliminate any remaining issues through future updates." So everything is A-OK in Red Dead Online again. For now.
If you missed the announcement of the Playdate last year, now's a great time to jump in and check out all the hype. It's a small handheld console with a Game Boy-like black and white screen, it has a vibrant yellow exterior, and it has a crank.
What?
Yep. Dev kits for the Playdate have been out there for a while, and the Little Handheld's official Twitter account released an updated thread with a handful of previews of what we can expect to see from the tiny piece of kit. There's familiar looking dungeon crawlers, interesting technical demos like this crank controlled calligraphy pen, an arcade racer where you use the crank to drift, a crank based Tetris game, also solitaire I guess, but also the Playdate has an accelerometer and this game looks kind of cool. But best of all, there's a version of Doom and you use the crank to fire the chain gun. Hell yeah.
Yes!
If you are looking forward to when you can get your hands on one of these, it looks like there will be news about a release date soon. As the last tweet in the Playdate Dev update thread reads, expect a big update in the next few months with our timeline, pre-order details, a surprise, and title reveals of all the free games you'll get in Playdate Season 1. Hey, we got through that whole story without making a joke about cranking one out, and I'm kind of proud of us.
I'm not as proud of us, but you know what? While we're keeping this new console thing on the go, let's talk about the Neo Geo Multi-Video System X, or the MVSX for short. It's a way to play classic Neo Geo games in an arcade cabinet.
The cab itself is 25 inches, but you can buy a matching base for an additional $100 that brings it up to standing height. It features more than 4 bright buttons and 2 joysticks for 2-player action. That's a Keith Apicary reference if you didn't know.
4 bright buttons and 2 joysticks, Neo Geo.
Supports both AES and MVS modes, comes packed with 50 games spread across collections of Neo Geo classics you know and love.
Just to run them off, King of Fighter 90 through 2003, Metal Slug 1 through 5 and X, Samurai Showdown 1 through 5 and 5 Special, Fatal Fury 1 through 3, Fatal Fury Special, Real Bout Fatal Fury through Real Bout Special 2, Gaoru Mark of the Wolves, a personal favorite, a World Heroes collection, a classic collection that includes Sengoku 1 through 3 and Magician Lord, and lastly, a sports classic collection that includes Super Sidekick and Top Players Golf.
Now, the monitor is an LCD, but the MVSX does claim to do pixel-to-pixel scaling, whatever that means, and scanline emulation, which is cool. If the 50 pack-in titles don't do it for you, there's also a USB port that we're just going to mention, and then move on.
Time for a 5-second review. time to die, Evan.
No, 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 no! God, this game is the worst. I guess I could play again. All right, that's gonna do it for news. Let's get into what's coming soon. First up, Apex Legends Season 6 is upon us. The new season, also referred to as Apex Legends Season 6 Boosted, is packed with a new ranked season, a new battle pass, an entirely new crafting system, a new energy-based SMG called Volt, and a new legend, Rampart. The character is described as an expert modder who made her name in underground fight clubs. Rampart talks big and has the ballistics to back it up. Apex Legends Season 6 comes out August 18th to PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Next up, take it to the skies and experience the joys of flight in the next generation of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Travel the world in amazing detail with over 37,000 airports, 2 million cities, 1.5 billion buildings, real mountains, roads, trees, rivers, animals, traffic, and more. Oh great, traffic. From light planes to wide-body jets, fly highly detailed and accurately modeled aircraft. Test your piloting skills against the challenges of night flying, real-time atmospheric simulation, and live weather in dynamic and living worlds. Create your flight plan to anywhere on the planet. The world is at your fingertips. Microsoft Flight Simulator releases on August 18th for PC.
Mortal Shell is a deep action RPG that tests your sanity and resilience in a shattered world. As the remains of humanity wither and rot, zealous foes fester in the ruins. They spare no mercy, with survival demanding superior awareness, precision, and instincts. Track down hidden sanctums of devout followers and discover your true purpose. The dead litter the standard landscape, but not all are without hope. The lost remains of defeated warriors are yours to discover. Awaken these mortal shells, occupy their bodies, and significantly open your understanding to diverse masteries of combat. Mortal Shell is coming August 18th to PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Rogue Legacy is back, but now it's got a 2 in front of it, or at the end of it, whatever. In this game, your legacy defines you. Spend your parents' inheritance and grow the family manor to give your children a better fighting chance, you know, as you probably should do. Each child is unique with their own traits and abilities. Your daughter could be an archer. She could also be a vegan. Rogue Legacy 2 also lets you play how you want to. Go hard and fast, and you can dive deeper into the depths of a randomly generated world, or take it slow and steady and build your character up until you're ready for greater challenges. Rogue Legacy 2's early access launches on August 18th for PC.
The Battletoads are back! The wait is over. Rash, Zitz, and Pimple are returning to storm through an all-new action-packed adventure, and couch co-op may never be the same again. 1 to 3 players will take control of the Battletoads and team up to storm through wild and unpredictable stages with only one rule: expect the unexpected. Teamwork makes the dream work, and a drop-in, drop-out gameplay blast filled with over-the-top gameplay moments that anyone can enjoy, but only a true Toad can master. Battletoads will be out on August 20th on PC and Xbox One.
By the way, if you're wondering why Brian isn't here, he's already going to beat new Battletoads.
But only a true Toad like Brian Gar can master. I mean, he's already beaten it, I'm sure of it.
Griefhelm is an award-winning tactical dueling game with lethal medieval weaponry. Skewer your enemies, deflect their blows, and push your advantage as you tactically overcome foes in fast-paced duels. Every engagement begins a new dance to the death as warriors search for an opening. Master the art of combat to overcome your enemies and claim victory. Experience a challenging, replayable campaign that will test the limits of your abilities on the battlefield. Battle your own way with or against your friend locally or online. Abandon the heresy of peaceful rest. Reach out and lay claim to your eternal reward. Griefhelm will be releasing on August 20th for the PC.
Pastel Blind Karma is a single-player 3D adventure puzzle game. Play as Pastel, a nine-tailed fox who has just woken up in an overgrown forest with no memory of who she is or how she got there. You will need to travel through time to recover her memories and prevent a great calamity from taking place. Pastel Blind Karma is coming August 20th on PC.
Peaky Blinders Mastermind is a puzzle adventure game based on the multi-award-winning TV show. Become the Mastermind as you control key characters and pull off perfectly synchronized plans. Set right before the events of Season 1, Peaky Blinders Mastermind lets you join the Shelby family's criminal gang. Follow the rise of Tommy as he successfully uncovers a sinister plot to put the family out of business, proving himself worthy of being the true mastermind of the Peaky Blinders. Peaky Blinders Mastermind releases August 20th for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch.
Next up, Remnant from the Ashes Complete Edition. The world has been thrown into chaos by an ancient evil from another dimension. As one of the last remnants of humanity, you must set out alone or alongside up to 2 other survivors to face down hordes of deadly enemies to try to carve a foothold, rebuild, and retake what was lost. Remnant from the Ashes Complete Edition will include the Remnant from the Ashes base game, the first premium DLC Swamps, of course, and the upcoming premium DLC Subject 2923, and it comes out August 20th for PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
And lastly, Aokana 4 Rhythms Across the Blue. Following the discovery of anti-gravitons, special shoes that allow an individual to fly, anti-graviton shoes, of course, took the world by storm. Not long after, the revolution in technology gave birth to a brand new sport: Flying Circus, which used the shoes to make players compete in the open sky. Messiah Hinata, who was once considered a prodigy, turned his back on Flying Circus after suffering a crushing defeat. Although there was also another reason. However, his former passion is reignited while teaching a new transfer student, Asuka Kurashina, how to fly. Aokana 4 Rhythms Across the Blue releases August 21st for PS4 and Switch.
And that's gonna do it for the roundup today, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Brian is still out on vacation. You should be back next week. I hope.
You know what? It's fine. He's going to play Battletoads and he's gonna beat it. And he's gonna tell you all about it next week. See you next time, everybody.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to
Inside
how do I
Game.
do this show? I don't know.
Oh, just one?
Fable and Perfect Dark are coming back. Break out the champagne. Microsoft just won the next console generation.
Hooray. Hey. Well, all right. Microsoft denies it, but there is some evidence out there that they might be